What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So I beat Black Myth Wukong. That game is definitely one of the best games I've ever played. I loved the story, the mythology, Chinese mythology. The music was fantastic, and without a doubt, probably the best combat in any video game I've ever played. That is up there with Sour Blade, God of War Ragnarok, as one of the best action games ever. I really, really freaking enjoyed it, folks. And I did beat the final boss, like the secret ending boss. Took me probably 20 to 30 tries. He was super hard, folks. But it's totally worth it. Oh, it feels so good to beat him. Plus all the goodies you get from beating him, totally worth it. Especially when I play it in New Game Plus, in a few years. I'll be able to, use those for the full game again. So if you haven't played it, play Black Myth Wukong. So, we're going to do a re-review today. However, I did just want to chat real quick regarding Hellboy. So, obviously, it's been very high in my mind lately. Hellboy, I am getting it. I'm getting the bust. I'll definitely get the 1/3. Ape Sapien, I could get the 1/3. I could also get the bust. The bust is cheaper. If you look at my Pan's Labyrinth display, it's the 2 busts and a 1/3. I could do it similar with Hellboy. I could do Hellboy bust, Ape Sapien bust, and Hellboy 1/3. Or you could do Hellboy bust, Ape Sapien 1/3, and Hellboy 1/3. I think you can't go wrong with either. I think, the bust of Ape Sapien looks really good. It's cheaper. The 1/3 also looks fantastic. The bust would technically fit down low. I've been thinking of where I could put it, and I've kind of come to the conclusion it can only really go in 2 spots in this collection, kind of. I mean, right there, you could do Hellboy bust in 1/3. You couldn't fit an Ape Sapien there. You could fit an Ape Sapien bust down low if Chucky wasn't there. You could definitely fit just the bust. It's only 29 inches tall, 32 inches, 33 inches you could fit down low. So you could fit that. You could, of course, right here, do Hellboy bust, Hellboy 1/3, Ape Sapien 1/3. Similar to this. I think that one looks really good. And then you'd probably just do like a Hellboy poster and also the right-handed Doom next to the bust in the Hellboy 1/3. That would look really freaking good. The bust is much bigger than this. This guy's like 26 inches tall. It's not a tall bust, but the Hellboy bust would be up to here. It's like way bigger. Way freaking bigger. Although of every bust I own, this one still probably has the coolest mouth of every bust I ever owned. I don't think there's a cooler mouth. Predator, Alien, nothing. Nothing tops this guy when it comes to the inner mouth coolness. This is it, and like just the mouth part. Like the Clicker bust has a really cool mouth. And obviously like the Raptor's a huge, cool looking mouth. This mouth is really cool. Everything's silicone and highly detailed. But if we're talking just this, I still gotta give it to Reaper. So here's the thing. I really like this right here. I ain't gonna lie. Every time I look at it, I freaking love it to death. Especially when you have like Underworld here, Blade here. Now, here's food for thought. Someone has mentioned to me about getting a projector. Now, I could do a drop down right here or right there. You could do a drop down right here. Drop down. I could put the projector either behind me. I could wall mount it up there, and then anytime I want to use it, I just have a button that would automatically lower the screen and I could game and then raise it, because then when I'm working, I'd be looking at the statues that would be here. When I'm doing tours, the screen would be raised. But theoretically, if we were to move this TV upstairs, I could fit the entire Hellboy line right here in the middle. You could do Ape Sapien bust, Hellboy bust, and the 2 1/3s all right here if this TV wasn't here. However, here's the thing. I'm a gamer, folks. This TV is used for pretty much gaming exclusively, and I like low lag. This is like 1 ms lag. And you want something that's 2 or lower for gaming, otherwise it'll feel laggy. And a projector's 4. Like the best gaming projector is a Fort MS. So I just don't know if I could deal with that. So that's why I'm just like, I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. I think Hellboy could go there, but you know, I'm not going to sell those girls. I freaking love them to death. That's a tough one. Now, technically, we have this bar around it. If you scoot this to the right, you could actually put like a shelf here. You know, so I was thinking, if you put a shelf right here, you could, you know, fit something. I don't know. We're going to figure it out probably once we get it in hands. Nevertheless. Alrighty, folks. So for the re-review, we're going to do The Mummy by Dream Figures. So I've had this piece, I think, for 5 years plus now. Had it for a long time. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper, you know, because this will likely be leaving the collection. You know, may or may not. Still technically hasn't been paid for or bought. But, so this does not come with it. This is a custom 1/3 Book of the Dead I bought off Etsy. You know, from the movie, obviously. You know, because I bought this because I'm a huge fan of the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. You know, like, huge fan. When I was growing up, that was like one of the greatest movies for me. You know, I still think it's an absolute amazing movie. Great action flick. I can always watch it, be thoroughly entertained. And when this piece first came out, conceptually, I thought it was one of the coolest statues ever. I still think it's one of the coolest concepts of any statue ever. Like, I still don't know another statue that beats it conceptually, you know, for what it is. So let's think about it. So you have these like old stoned look leading up into what looks like sand and this, you know, mummy tomb, this, what is it, sarcophagus? What the... Drawing a blank. Anyways, you can see inside it has all this Egyptian like writing and everything. I obviously can't read that. Inside here, you can see where the fingernails were scratching at it, you know, just like in the movie. Extremely freaking cool the way they did that. You know, and then on the opposite side, you have this design. It's really hard to move. It's not on a turntable. Then you got these two jars, just like in the movie. And one is inside, the other is like broken, and it includes a bunch of scarabs and just like beetles. I actually use museum putty to stick them because anytime I dust, they'd blow. So I used museum putty so they wouldn't freaking blow everywhere. You can kind of see it like right there, the museum putty. But you know, that's so this guy doesn't move because they're, you know, very light. But you get them and you basically display them everywhere throughout the statue. So I displayed some inside that little, you know, broken jar, you know, just like in the movie, there was the 4 jars that the mummy had to collect. So I think that's a really cool, you know, concept there. And of course, you have the mummy himself coming out like he just opened this and he's lunging out at you. So really cool pose. And it's basically a skeleton, you know, with tons of wraps. The wraps are flying everywhere. You know, I mean, look at that portrait. That is just killer. Oh my Jupiter. Unbelievably cool, like in every possible way. So badass, like really freaking good. Fantastic detail, fantastic paint app. The face looks so good. Really good job. So, and that's just from right here up. It's just like perfection. You know, then beyond that, you got this staff. Looks like a weapon that maybe an Anubis would use. And then you have like 3 different Egyptian gods. So you have Anubis there, Pharaoh, I think, and then another one. So you have like 3 different Egyptian gods. In the back, you got broken pillars and columns with different Egyptian writings. It's actually a pretty deep statue, about 24 inches deep. Then, of course, you have these human skulls going through spikes. You know, so you got multiple human skulls here. There's like roped. There's decay. Very aged looking as well, you know, like looking at this statue, it's, you know, very aged, which I think, I really like the paint app on it. It's really good. Now, they really just knocked this out of the park. Like, there's nothing you can complain about. I mean, imagine if this was in 1/3 scale. It'd be freakishly huge. It's already 24 inches deep, 24 inches tall, 24 inches wide. It's a big statue. It's very heavy, probably weighs 40 pounds, you know. But conceptually, this is like 11 out of 10 good. There's not a better concept out there for any statue, period, in my opinion. I think this is the cream of the crop. Detail and paint app, I do not think this is aged at all. I think this is, just as good as any statue nowadays. It is fantastic, detail, paint app, all around 10 out of 10. So really nothing to complain about with this. There's not really any swap outs. The only thing you could do is move the bugs around. I wish they would have included the Book of the Dead with it originally. It's kind of a shame they didn't. I like putting it here in front like it's part of the statue. Somewhat similar to the Ash Evil Dead, how it has the Book of the Dead in the front of the statue. That was kind of the concept I was going through here. Now he's meant to get a life-size version of this Book of the Dead. I never bought one, but I always thought about buying one. Now, if I did get one, I'd obviously have to go like back there. But I mean, yeah, for a 1/4 scale statue, it's 10 out of 10. Now, this retailed at about $1,200 shipped. So, it was pricey back in the day. $1,200 for a 1/4 scale. Your typical 1/4 scale back then was probably around $600-700 from Sideshow. But obviously this, far more elaborate. So I pre-ordered this day one. With the moment I saw it, I fell in love with it. So I pre-ordered it day one, $1,200, limited edition of 50. So 50 painted, and then they had some kits. Although kits, I'm not a fan of kits. I don't like having to ship it to someone, they assemble it, paint it. Just get it freaking painted. They did a fantastic job at the factory for the paint job, so. But yeah, there's only 50, and I've only seen this for sale one time in the last 5 years, and that was by Mr. X, the Extreme Channel. He sold his. I don't know what he sold it for, but he's the only person I've actually ever seen sell this. I've never seen it on eBay, Facebook, because people that get this generally don't sell it because it's that good of a statue. It's like a lifer. Now, of course, I'm only considering selling it because of the colossal amount of money I'm being offered. But normally I would never, ever sell this. But, if you had a chance to pick this up, what would I say to pay for this? I mean, I would say it's definitely well worth $2,500. Considering the highly limited edition size, the exclusivity, the low, the fact that we don't have other mummy statues. That's the thing. When you look at like a Batman statue, there's 50 other Batman statues. So I don't think any Batman statue is worth a ton of money because of that. And the ones that are really good, the edition size is usually, several hundred to thousands. With statues, it's an art, it's highly limited, and limited does determine value, in my opinion. If there's, if there was 1,000 of these out there, then it'd probably only be worth, $800, $1,000. But only 50 makes it much more valuable, So, high exclusivity, low edition size is super important. And the fact there's only one mummy in existence and it's a perfect mummy makes this extremely good, in my opinion. When you don't have a lot of a statue, and that character definitely makes it much more valuable, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely a total grail, in my opinion. For me, it's one of the best 1/4 scale statues ever made. When I look at all my statues in my collection for 1/4, I put that at the top of the food chain, along with Khaleesi, like those two. I would also probably put this, obviously, I don't consider that Hulkbuster 1/4, so you can't consider that. But obviously Sauron 1/4, due to the massive size and the cool concept, he's probably my number one is Sauron. He is stupid impressive. A lot of video game statues are super cool and impressive. Nevertheless, Mummy is definitely like a top 5 most impressive for me. Anyways, folks, let me know what you guys think. Let me know, are you guys playing Black Myth Wukong? Have you beat it yet? It took me about 59 hours to beat the game. I'm not the type of person that, platinums a game. I go through it. I try to do everything I can by myself. I will use some guides for, secret areas. Some areas what the heck? I didn't know that. So I do use some guides every now and then. But usually I try to do everything on my own, and then I'll use a guide for other things. But 59 hours. I know there's 81 bosses. I'm pretty confident I beat at least, I swear, 70 plus. But I really enjoyed it, so I highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.